exploded across the golf world like a lightning bolt nobody saw coming. In a quiet interview that instantly turned volcanic, Laurie Canter confirmed what fans swore had to be a rumor. He turned down his hard-earned PGA Tour card to rejoin Lev Golf's Majestics GC. One simple announcement, and suddenly the entire sport was staring straight at one of the most unexpected U-turns in recent memory. And trust me, nobody was ready for this twist, because here's the part that made jaws drop even lower. He earned that PGA Tour card. He climbed the ladder. He secured the golden ticket every aspiring pro dreams about. And then he walked away from it like it was nothing more than a pit stop on his journey. According to Reuters, Sky Sports, and Golf Channel/AP, insiders were stunned not because he left, but because he left now, right when the door had finally swung wide open. And that's exactly why this moment hit with the force of a full-swing driver. Analysts didn't even try to hide their shock. Some called the move bold, others reckless, a few labeled it career-defining, and not in the usual polished way. Meanwhile, fans went nuclear on social media. Half cheered him for choosing his own path, half accused him of abandoning tradition. And somewhere in the middle, PGA Tour officials reportedly labeled the decision a snub, a word Sky Sports didn't hesitate to print. Momentum shifted instantly, and once again the PGA LIV fracture was back under a spotlight it hoped had faded. But here's where everything gets even crazier. This isn't just another player switching tours. This isn't about money, contracts, or who offers better range snacks. This is Laurie Canter rejecting the traditional dream route, the path golfers spend their whole lives chasing. He finally reached the summit, and then chose a different mountain altogether. And now the only question echoing across the sport is this: what made him walk away after finally earning the golden ticket? Because whatever the answer is, it's about to shake everything that comes next. Laurie Canter didn't just wake up one morning and flip a coin between the PGA Tour and LIV Golf. According to the Express and Golf Monthly, the Majestics GC camp had been circling him for months, quietly making it clear they not only wanted him back, they wanted him fully locked in for their 2026 rebuild. Loyalty wasn't just a theme here, see, it was the whole pitch. For a player who'd spent years grinding for chances, being chosen hit different, and that kind of validation can move mountains in a golfer's heart. But LIV wasn't offering a handshake and a hope. They were offering guaranteed opportunity, a set role, a full-time roster spot, and a structure Canter had already experienced in previous seasons. Unlike the uncertainty he faced as a reserve, this return came with clarity, purpose, and stability. LIV's revamped 2026 plan promised even more: a stronger schedule, clearer pathways, and a team system that actually meant something. For a guy whose career surged whenever he knew his job, that was impossible to ignore. And here's the pressure part nobody talks about. When Canter entered LIV as a substitute before, he had to fight for every tee time, every slot, every weekend. Now, Majestics wanted him as a foundational piece, a full roster athlete with a real identity inside the squad. That's a very different type of weight. It wasn't pressure to survive. It was pressure to lead. And that kind of challenge can pull a competitor right back into the fire. Meanwhile, the PGA Tour card he earned wasn't some casual invite. In the AP and Golf Channel reporting, Canter said he was grateful for the moment. He knew the value. He respected the grind, and he understood the privilege attached to a card players devote entire careers to chasing. But deep down, he admitted his future didn't sit on that side of the fence. Because sometimes the path you're supposed to follow isn't the one your instincts want anymore. And that's where the emotional conflict hits hardest. Turning down the PGA Tour isn't just changing tours, it's rejecting decades of tradition, prestige, and the storybook route nearly every pro grows up dreaming about. In the end, comfort, clarity, and loyalty outweighed prestige. But that's only half the story. Because the real shock wasn't the decision, it was the ripple effect. The moment Laurie Canter's decision hit the newswire, analysts didn't waste a second. Sky Sports framed it bluntly: a worrying sign for the PGA Tour, a move that raised serious questions about player retention at the worst possible time. Reuters echoed the same alarm. If golfers are willing to walk away after earning a PGA Tour card, the PGA's grip on its rising stars may be weaker than anyone thought. And just like that, the quiet tension between the tours roared back to life. Critics didn't hesitate to call this bad for the PGA Tour, and not in a subtle way. Losing a player who just secured his card strengthens the narrative that the PGA can't hold on to talent once LIV shows up with structure, stability, and a clear role. This wasn't a superstar defecting. This was a working-class grinder choosing guaranteed opportunity over tradition. And if the grinders start leaving too, that's a problem the PGA can't spin away, because when the foundation cracks, the whole building feels it. What made this even worse was the timing. The PGA and LIV have been stuck in fragile, slow-moving unification talks that already feel like they're held together by golf tape and wishful thinking. A move like this? It deepens the divide. It signals LIV is gaining quiet momentum again, and every new signing makes the negotiating table just a little more unstable. Suddenly, unity feels farther away than ever. Meanwhile, fans went straight into battle mode online. Half of them praised Canter for chasing a future that made sense for him, the same way supporters rallied behind Bryson or Cameron Smith. The other half, they weren't so forgiving. Some called it a betrayal of the traditional ladder, the same ladder countless players climbed for decades. The divide felt exactly like the Rory Bryson era, a split where every opinion becomes a battlefield. And in that chaos, the sport feels fractured all over again. Behind the scenes, insiders whispered that other DP World Tour players were watching closely. If Canter's move pays off, he won't be the last. Golf Monthly hinted at this growing curiosity, a quiet undercurrent of players evaluating their own futures. And just when it looked like the storm might calm down, things escalated again. When Reuters confirmed that Laurie Canter was officially joining Majestic's GC for 2026, the reaction inside LI5 circles wasn't quiet pride. It was full-on satisfaction. This wasn't a random pickup or a filler signing. This was strategic. According to both Reuters and Complete Golfer, Majestic's GC had been eyeing Canter because of one trait they desperately needed: reliability. In 2023 and 2024, he built a reputation as one of the most consistent ball strikers in the rotation, the kind of player who stabilizes a team's entire backbone. And in a league where every point matters, stability is a weapon. Behind closed doors, LIV has been rebuilding quietly for months. While the headlines focused on the drama, the teams focused on identity, constructing rosters that aren't just competitive but culturally tight. The Majestics, with their veteran core and outspoken personalities, needed someone who fit their DNA without shaking the room. Canter checked every box. And with LIV's 2026 season planning, expanded global stops, and a more polished format, signing a player who believes in the long-term vision matters more than ever. Because the future isn't built with noise, it's built with intentional moves like this. And make no mistake, LIV executives saw this as symbolic. A player who earned a PGA Tour card, the pinnacle of the old system, turned it down to return to Elver 5. That alone sent shockwaves through the sport. To LIV's leadership, this wasn't just a signing. It was validation that their structure, team culture, and identity were becoming a destination, not a fallback. It proved players weren't just joining for money, they were joining because they believed in the ecosystem. And symbolism like that hits harder than any bonus check ever could. Inside Majestic's GC, the move had an extra layer. Lee Westwood and Ian Poulter have long valued loyalty, chemistry, and grinders who play with a team-first mentality. They'd seen Canter up close. They knew his work ethic, his mindset, his ability to steady chaos. Bringing him back wasn't business. It was belief. And belief is what builds dynasties before anyone notices. But the ripple effect reaches much farther than Canter. Sources around the DP World Tour quietly admitted that more players are watching this move closely. If Canter thrives, others may decide LIV isn't a gamble. It's an opportunity they can't ignore. What looks like one man's career choice is actually a sign of where the sport is shifting.